Checking my phone, I noticed there were 13 missed calls, all from my mother-in-law. Not again. Just as this thought crossed my mind, my phone vibrated again. Hello, I answered, and my mother-in-law shouted loudly. Brittany, where is this month's $33,000 support money? What I'm talking about, the $3,000 for this month hasn't been transferred yet. Her voice dripped with anger, never considering our situation. My patience reached its limit. She never reflected on her words or actions, even in this state. It was time for the last resort. I told my mother-in-law on the other end of the phone, "Your son has passed away, so I can no longer provide support. I am Brittany Wagner, a 32-year-old part-time housewife working at a major financial company. I married about 2 years ago, meeting my husband Justin through a shared hobby. His kindness and wonderful smile captivated me, and after a year of dating, we got engaged. We believed we couldn't find better partners than each other. Everything went smoothly until we faced a problem, my mother-in-law. My father-in-law had passed away years ago, and with no siblings, the only family left was my mother-in-law. Trouble started when we visited her to announce our engagement. As I greeted her, Sandra, my mother-in-law, showed her displeasure. Are you Justin's fiancé? Yes, I am. My name is Brittany Wagner. Nice to meet you. You seem rather plain. I wonder what Justin sees in you. It's curious. I couldn't tell if she was serious or joking. Shocked, I heard such words from the mother of the man I loved. Seeing my distress, Justin looked displeased with his mother. Wait, Mom, why would you say something like that all of a sudden? Why can you so casually say such awful things about the person I brought? It's different. I just want to choose the right woman for you. I brought her here because I've decided to marry her. It's not up to you to comment on my choice, Destin. You don't have to be so cold. I'm just thinking about what's best for you. The argument between mother and son unfolded, creating a tense atmosphere. As it was my first meeting with my mother-in-law, I couldn't intervene. The uncomfortable air lingered even after the argument, but ultimately, we conveyed our intention to marry. As we left, Sandra spoke to Justin in a somewhat disgruntled tone. Hey, Justin, you'll keep that promise even after we get married, right? Huh? What promise? You know about the promise of financial support. Ah, that. I will continue to do it as always. Please don't bring this up in front of Brittany. The atmosphere between my husband and his mother had been tense for a while, making the air feel heavy. On the way back in the car, I asked Justin about something that had been on my mind. Hey, Justin, about what you and your mother were discussing when we were leaving. Ah, yeah. I suppose I should discuss something with you. I heard about financial support, and since my dad passed away, I've been sending money to my mom every month. How much are you sending? $2,000 each month. What? $2,000? I raised my voice unconsciously, shocked by the amount. Justin sighed deeply and began to speak slowly. Actually, my mom is in debt. Debt? Yeah, she got into debt from gambling in the past. She's been paying it off and living on that, but her legs aren't in good shape anymore. So she spends more time at home now, and she still needs money to live, right? Well, yes, but I still think $2,000 is too much. I know, but if I even slightly reduce the amount, she keeps calling me persistently. Well, a parent is still a parent, you know? I worry about her since we can't live together. I see. Justin is incredibly caring towards his mother, but it can't be helped. Since his father passed away, his mother is the only family he has left. No matter what her character is like, she's still an important mother to Justin. At that time, all I could think was what a kind person my husband was. Then, one day, 2 months after we got married, during my lunch break, I received a call on my smartphone. It was from my mother-in-law. Hello? Yes, I answered, and she began speaking in a cheerful tone. It's been a while, Brittany. I have something to discuss. Are you free now? Yes, I'm free. What's going on? Well, I was thinking maybe you could also start sending me some financial support. I was speechless at her unexpected request, but my mother-in-law continued happily. You mentioned you work at a financial company, right? So you must have a good salary. No, that's not the case. Are you trying to lie to me because you don't want to give me money? That's not what I'm saying. Then why not? But mother, Justin is still sending you money every month, isn't he? Yes, he is. She didn't seem to appreciate the support she was already receiving. I spoke up firmly. Please listen calmly, mother-in-law. Continuing to send as much as $2,000 a month is a really big deal, you know? And yet, you still want more. I can't understand that. Oh, is that so? You say that. But if you could just contribute the remaining $1,000, Justin wouldn't be burdened. What do you mean by that? I have Justin as a co-signer on my debt, which means if I default on my payments, the creditors will come after him. Do you understand what I'm saying? What? But wasn't the $2,000 Justin sends used for paying off the debt? Well, the thing is, it's not enough. I haven't told Justin yet, but the debt is quite substantial. It seemed from the way my mother-in-law spoke that this was a truth unknown to my husband. If we were to have children in the future, it would inevitably mean more expenses. On top of that, paying off my mother-in-law's debt wouldn't be easy. However, if her repayments fell behind by the time the debt transferred to Justin, the interest would likely have ballooned significantly. It was easy to foresee that refusing to help now would ultimately burden my husband. Realizing that, the best course might be to ensure she pays off her debt completely. I hesitantly conveyed to my mother-in-law, "I understood. I'll contribute to the support as well." Really, Brittany? You're amazing. I knew you would say that. Combined with Justin's, it'll be $3,000 a month. This will be used to properly pay off the debt, right? Of course. I plan to pay off the entire amount in about a year. Please promise to pay it off without any delay. Okay, I understand. It's a promise. So I'll be expecting the support starting from this month, my mother-in-law said, unilaterally ending the call. The stress piled onto my exhausted body, and I felt increasingly depressed. $1,000 every month. That's a significant burden, but it's necessary to prevent future troubles for us as a couple. And if my mother-in-law can't live properly, Justin wouldn't like that either. That evening, I promptly reported this to my husband. He said, "You shouldn't have to go through all this trouble." But I had already agreed with my mother-in-law. I explained it was a tough decision made to avoid future burdens on us. With a look of regret, my husband said, "I'm really sorry, but thank you," showing understanding for my decision. Time passed, and 2 years have gone by since this decision. The support, which was supposed to end in a year, is still ongoing, and we continue to transfer $3,000 to my mother-in-law every month. To complicate matters, my husband fell ill about 2 months ago and has been unable to work. He's on sick leave and receiving a small amount of sickness allowance, but it's minuscule compared to his usual salary. Last month, I used my savings to send the $3,000 to my mother-in-law. But if this continues, even our living expenses will become difficult. Incredibly, my mother-in-law hasn't once visited Justin in the hospital. I informed her a long time ago about his hospitalization, but instead of visiting, she only contacts me to ensure the continuation of the support. Frustrated by her behavior, I finally brought up the subject with my husband. "Justin, your mother only talks about money. Even knowing you're hospitalized, we need to seriously consider whether to continue the support." "Yeah, I've been thinking the same. I don't want to burden Brittany any further. She's been calling and messaging this month asking, is the support coming?" Seriously, even though her own son is in the hospital, all she thinks about is money. Justin, looking somewhat gaunt, expressed his anger towards his mother. Then, with a sudden idea, he said, "Ah, I've got it," and smiled. "What is it, Justin?" "Well, I just thought of something. It's a last resort, though. Something good." "About my mother?" "Huh, what?" My husband proposed an unexpected plan. It might seem excessive, but it seemed the only way to get through to my mother-in-law in her current state. A few weeks later, Justin was discharged from the hospital, fortunately in good health. Since there was no response from my mother-in-law despite numerous attempts to contact her, we hadn't informed her of my husband's discharge date. For the past 2 weeks or so, she had been incessantly demanding financial support. There's no need to purposely send money to a mother who doesn't even worry about her son, my husband remarked while having coffee. As we relaxed, a message came to my smartphone. On closer inspection, there were 13 missed calls from my mother-in-law. Not again. As my phone vibrated again, it was another call from my mother-in-law. I deliberately turned on the speaker so that my husband could hear, and my mother-in-law immediately started shouting, "Brittany, where's this month's $3,000 support?" "What I'm talking about, the $3,000 for this month hasn't been transferred yet." "Mother, please calm down. Do you realize right now Justin is? I don't care if he's sick or whatever. You work at a good company. You must have plenty of savings. Hurry up and transfer it to me." My mother-in-law furiously shouted, eventually saying something unbelievable. "Do you get it? You married Justin and became his wife, so when Justin can't pay because he's sick, you should pay me. If you don't, I'll make you the co-signer of the debt." At that moment, something inside me snapped. She always exposed her greed, never considering our situation. My patience with her had reached its limit. Doesn't she reflect on her words or actions even in this situation? If that's the case, I have no choice but to play my last card. I firmly told my mother-in-law over the phone, "Your son has passed away, so I can no longer provide support." My mother-in-law responded with a dumbfounded, "Ha." Justin's proposed last resort was to lie to my mother-in-law that my husband had died and see her reaction. If she showed even a hint of sadness, reflected on her past behavior, and sincerely apologized, then I would consider continuing the support. But if she showed no remorse and still demanded money, I was ready to completely sever ties. I thought even a mother obsessed with money would deeply reflect upon hearing about her son's death. However, the moment she heard it, my mother-in-law started laughing loudly. "Ha ha ha. What's so funny? Because if Justin is dead, that means I'll get a share of the inheritance, right? I've been researching it, you know. I started looking into it as soon as I heard Justin got sick. You're entitled to 2/3 of Justin's estate, and the remaining 1/3 is mine." I was dumbfounded. Normally, if one hears their child is sick, they would first look for treatment or useful information. But she had been researching inheritance division. My anger reached its limit, and I was beyond appalled. My husband seemed to feel the same way, and we exchanged glances before he slowly nodded. It was a sign to continue with the plan. Once again, I spoke firmly to my mother-in-law. "Mother, did you listen to what I said? Your son Justin has passed away." "I've heard you, so what? Aren't you sad your son has died before you?" "Oh, right. I was worried I wouldn't get the monthly support anymore. But well, if I'm getting the inheritance, that's fine. How can you, for now, just make sure you give me 1/3 of the inheritance, okay? If you try to run off with it all by yourself, I'll never forgive you." The call ended abruptly, and the dial tone echoed in my ears. Casually glancing at my husband, I saw his face turn red with anger, his body shaking. "Justin, calm down. Are you okay?" As I casually asked my husband, he looked me straight in the eyes and said, "I decided I should cut ties with such a person. She will surely come here demanding money eventually, so let's wait until then." "Yeah, you're right, Justin. Are you really okay with this, cutting ties with your mother like this?" "Yeah, I am. After hearing what she said on the phone, I have no regrets. Someone who can say such things without batting an eye is not a parent." His eyes were filled with hatred, turning red. I felt the same way. A person who thinks only about money, even over her son's life, is not family. A few days later, as expected, my mother-in-law showed up at our house. I managed the situation for the time being and asked Justin to hide in the next room. Then, my mother-in-law approached me with a fierce look and pressed me aggressively. Brittany, hand over Justin's inheritance right now. Huh? That topic again? Don't you have anything else to say? Justin's dead, isn't he? What's the point of saying anything now? It's meaningless. You have the nerve to say that when you didn't even visit him in the hospital. Can you even call yourself his parent? You're so noisy. Just give me the inheritance right now. I'll call a lawyer if I have to. At that moment, I realized that talking to her was just a waste of time. Just then, my husband emerged from the next room. Seeing him, my mother-in-law let out a loud gasp as if she'd seen a ghost. Justin, why? You're supposed to be dead. Mom, long time no see. Sorry, but the story about me being dead was a lie. A lie, you say? Why would you say such a disrespectful thing? To expose your true nature and confirm it for myself. I wondered how you would manage the monthly financial support if I, your son, were dead. But unfortunately, you turned out to be the worst kind of person, only thinking about money. This situation made that very clear. That's Justin, calling your own parents the worst kind of person. Quiet? I'm cutting ties with a toxic parent like you. As my husband shouted, Sandra stood there open-mouthed, stunned. She hadn't yet come to terms with the reality of being disowned by her own son. Wait, what do you mean, Justin? Well, I just said, I'm cutting ties. I can't consider someone like you my mother. Don't say that. So, what about the financial support? Why would I support you? You need to find a way to pay off your own debt. We've decided to move away. Wait, without the support, I won't be able to live. Tears in her eyes, my mother-in-law reached out to my husband. He forcefully brushed her hand away, looked at her coldly, and said, I don't care about your life. You never once apologized for all the trouble you caused us, did you? Knowing your true nature now, I feel relieved. Don't ever show your face to us again. That's cruel. Wait, Justin, are you really going to abandon your mother? Ignoring her words, my husband grabbed her arm and dragged her to the front door. Then, he threw her bag and shoes outside and kicked her out of the house. She made a scene outside, but apparently unable to bear the stares of onlookers, she left after a while. Persistent calls and emails came, but we ignored them all. We blocked her number and quickly finished moving. The co-signing of the debt turned out to be something Sandra had fabricated, so the guarantee contract was void, and Justin no longer had any responsibility as a guarantor. Having lost all support from us, my mother-in-law was apparently living a miserable life. It was no surprise since she had used almost all the money we sent for gambling. The remaining debt was substantial, and she spent her days being chased by debt collectors. Working from morning till night, she couldn't gamble anymore. It's unlikely that she will pay off all her debt anytime soon. From now on, she will have to work until her body can no longer move. It's all her own doing. Meanwhile, we are living fulfilling days in our new home. Justin's condition stabilized, and he was able to return to work after recovering. And now there's a new life growing inside me. Next year, our family will grow by one, and we will start a new life. In the future, we want to spend peaceful and happy days as a family of 3.